everyone, it's Maria from Creative Grids, and today I want to talk about the Bowl Cozy template set. It is nested, so you get two templates in one set. The small one is going to make a bowl this size. The large one is going to make a bowl this size. It has our exclusive grip, just like the other rulers. You're going to get a QR code that you can scan and look for more information and a how-to video on the product. And both pieces have a hang hole so that it's easy to store without losing the parts. Let's start by gathering the tools we need to make some bowl cozies. I'm going to need my template set because I want to do a large and a small bowl cozy. I'm going to use my Creative Grid rotary cutter because these are templates made to use with the cutter. I'm going to use some cool pins, and I'm going to use some friction pens to draw the line for quilting, and a 2.5 by 24.5 inch ruler, which I don't use very often, but this is perfect for drawing those lines to quilt. Let's start with a small bowl cozy. Printed right on the template, you need two 11-inch cotton fabric squares and two 11-inch cotton batting squares. You want to make sure that those are both 100% cotton, absolutely no metallic in the fabrics, nothing fancy that's going to possibly start a fire in your microwave. These are meant to go in the microwave with your bowls, so you want to make sure that everything is microwave safe. So here are my two squares of fabric. And my two squares of batting, template, and rotary cutter. That's all I need for this first step. Let's start by cutting the fabric squares. I'm going to fold them in half and in half again so they're quartered. You're going to lay the template with the folded edges marked on the template with the folded edges of the fabric. And I'm going to use my rotary cutter to trim around the shape. Take your time going around that curve and cut both sets of darts. And that easy and that quick, I have a piece of fabric cut for one of my bowls. Because that shape is symmetrical, it doesn't matter if you're folding right sides together or wrong sides together, you're going to get that same shape every time. There's my one side of the bowl, inner or outer, and the other side, they are reversible, so if you change your mind after they're done, you can keep flopping the colors back and forth. I'm also going to cut the batting. This is one of our Gypsy Quilter battings. 100% cotton. It's a little bit thicker than the fabric, but this is going to work just fine. Still line the folds up onto the batting folds and cut. just like that, I've got the parts I need to do a small bowl cozy. I'm going to pair a piece of fabric up with a piece of batting, but first I want to mark the lines to quilt an X. You can quilt however you want, but for what we're doing here, I'm going to keep it simple. So I'm going to fold it in half like this and give a little finger press on the outside corners. Open it up. Lay my ruler on that crease mark. Use one of my friction pens because I know it's going to erase when I iron it out later. And draw a line for quilting. Spin it around and fold it one more time. Finger press on the edges. Lay that ruler out again. Pair up the batting with the fabric. I like to take a couple pins just to hold it together while I go over to quilt it. And I've got one layer all set to go. Fabric doesn't really go very far when you quilt it, but I like the pins for a little extra security. So let's quilt this X and then come back for the next step. Here they're quilted. Take those pins out. So next step is some assembly. I'm going to fold right sides together to line up those dart edges. Put them under your needle and sew them if you're comfortable with that. Put a couple pins in if you'd rather. I tend to do opposite edges first, although there is no rule about that. You can do one at a time and work your way around, whatever you think. Sew all 4 darts on both sets. And this is what you're going to get. So I've got my 2 halves of the bowl. I'm going to turn one so that I see the batting on top like this, and simply tuck them inside each other. I'm going to line up those darts, which I happen to press open. You can press them to the side if you want, but do them opposite sides to divert the bulk in there. I just like to do them open because then that almost disappears in the seam when you stitch across the top. A few more pins to hold it together. I like to line up my stitching. So if I folded them in half correctly, my quilt X is going to line up on the edge too. Keep going like that, and then you're going to stitch about 1/4 inch away from the edge, and it's going to look like this. I've left a hole for turning that bowl right side out, and I've clipped all these curves so that when I do turn it, it's going to create a nice smooth edge. And just like doing laundry, you're going to reach in and pull that through that hole there to turn it right side out. And when you get that done, I did a top stitch around the edge to just finish it off. I use my iron to kind of smooth out those edges and press them into place. Because both of the halves are the same size, I can either display my bowl like this, or I can simply flip it the other way around. So you're really making 2 bowls in one. And you can place your bowl in there to put it into the microwave just like that. And to take it out and enjoy. So now that we put a small bowl cozy together, let's do the large one. It's going to be the same process, just a bigger template, and the end product is going to be a larger bowl cozy. For the larger bowl cozy template, I'm going to need 2 16-inch cotton fabric squares and 2 16-inch cotton batting squares. I'm going to do this one a little bit different. Instead of cutting the batting, I'm only going to cut the fabric. So I'll show you another option to put this together. I've got my template, my 2 squares of fabric, and my 2 squares of batting. Same as I did for the small bowl cozy, I'm going to fold that fabric in half and then half again, making quarters. I'm going to line up that folded edge with the folded edges of my fabric and cut. I think that bigger shape's a little easier to cut than the small one. And look, you just have a larger version of the first bowl that we did. Put on those folded edges again and cut again. And there we have an outer edge and an inner edge, or vice versa, and it's reversible just like the small one is. So now you can do the same thing with your batting again. However, if you don't enjoy cutting your batting, you could leave it square like this. I gotta fold that out of the way. I put down my square batting. put my square of fabric on top, I can quilt it like that. But before I quilt it, I want to mark that X. Finger press that edge. And there's your X marks the spot, as they say. If you want to be more creative with your quilting, by all means, go right ahead. I am going to layer this with my square of batting. Repeat for the green layer. Once you quilt it, it's going to look like this. So now I want to trim that batting away. I can get out my scissors and clip all around the edge, or you can take that template and lay it right on top of there again. I'm going to line up the tip with my X, but I'm more concerned about where the dart and the curve are. If I take a tiny little cut here, I can trim all the way around that petal. Take a little cut. And repeat for the other 3 corners. Remember, kind of take your time around the curve, because it's easy for that rotary cutter to kind of jump the line. Now all I need to do is take my scissors and clip into the inside of that dart and assemble the bowl just like I did for the small bowl cozy. And just like that, I have a layer of my bowl ready to finish. I'm going to fold it again like I did the small one, lining up those dart edges. This batting is so nice, it just stays right where I've put it. It's not trying to jump off the fabric or anything. And it's not moving around. I'll put a couple pins in. I want to make sure the fabric inside here is smooth, so sometimes if I start with my finger in there, that helps lay that fabric nice and flat. I only want a dart, I don't want creases. I have to say I love the little silicone tip to these pins. Gives me a place to push on to put them in. Take it to the machine to sew your darts, and you've got your layers ready to put your bowl together. Here you can see I've sewn the darts, both on the green and the gray. I nested them together, stitched around that outside edge. I left a hole for turning. And this is about the perfect distance from where you stitch the X to one of the seams, although I come just past that seam a little bit. I'm going to reach in there and turn this bowl right side out. It's like doing laundry, folding socks. So I'm going to put my fingers in there and push those curved edges out. Kind of smooth around those inner curves and the outer curves. It really helps to go to the iron with a little steam in it and give that a little bit of steam on both sides to help smooth that out by cutting those darts. Look at what a nice edge we're going to get. You got two choices here. You can fold this edge over to close up the hole and just stitch around it. You can go in and make some relief cuts on that batting so it's a little easier to roll it around. Or you can do like I do and pin it, hand stitch that closed. And then top stitch to make a bowl. And here is your large bowl cozy. Now I can put a larger bowl in there to heat up or simply aid in carrying that hot dish to the table. Here's the small one. You can see the difference in size, one on top of the other. Remember, you have to use 100% cotton fabric and cotton batting. Absolutely no metallic thread and no metallic designs or anything on the fabrics. As an added treat to go with the Bowl Cozy template set, you could also use the pre-cut Bowl Cozy battings from the Gypsy Quilter. This is for the small bowl, and this is for the large. You get enough in each package to do 4 bowls, so you get 8 pieces of batting. Another 8 pieces in this one. Just think of all the pretty bowls you're going to make for gifts this year. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Pinterest, as well as like us on Facebook to stay up to date with all the latest things coming from Creative Grids. See you all real soon.